The fan base is enthusiastic and optimistic, and for good reason for the most part. There's a few people that are jumping off a bit high on the expectations, but that's fine. They're fans. Of course, they're able to do that. You're optimistic and so forth. The one consideration that you've put near the top of the list has been defensive line. Now, this isn't going to necessarily help for 2022, but certainly addressing future USC rosters. The defensive line has been bolstered over the past week through the recruiting cycle of 2023, which now stands at 10 hard commits. Flip coming in with Amos Talelele from Cal, and also Grant Buckey, another defensive line commit this week.
Yeah, so I mean, Lincoln Riley and his team, they know, they're thin in the trenches. So what are they doing? They are beefing up. They are loading up in the trenches on both sides of the ball. With Amos Talelele, it's interesting, that he was listed as both offensive and defensive lineman. Sean Nua, the defensive line coach, had a role in, helping to flip him from Cal, but he has listed himself as an offensive lineman. Now, maybe in the course of time, he'll go back to the defensive side. So in that sense, he offers USC some versatility. And we've seen this coaching staff, coach players for multiple positions. In spring football, you saw a lot of players in the secondary being coached up as both defensive cornerbacks and safeties. And that's partly a product of just attrition. With fewer bodies, well, you want to give players a chance to be able to play different positions. So with Talalay, the expectation is that he will be an offensive lineman in 2023 when he joins the program. But, if certain injuries or attritional elements arise, maybe he'll be reslotted over to defense. But clearly, the big theme, USC making some real inroads on the offensive and defensive lines, getting tougher in the trenches. So you can see how much of a priority Lincoln Riley knows that is. And then, building off of that, it's yet another instance of Lincoln Riley improving USC at another Pac-12 program's expense. And the Talalay episode is just one of several instances in which Justin Wilcox and Cal have had an absolutely brutal week on the trail. John Wilner of the San Jose Mercury News and the Wilner Hotline has gone into the details on that. Also, Brandon Huffman, West Coast recruiting expert, has also documented how many hits Cal has taken just in this past week. Like a top quarterback prospect did not include Cal or Oregon on his final list. He's looking elsewhere in the country. So it's not just USC getting better, it's other Pac-12 teams suffering. And this thing keeps coming up that, what's good for USC? Is it good for the Pac-12? Well, to an extent, in terms of USC is going to raise the bar for the rest of the conference. But there's also the fact that just if USC gets bigger and the Pac-12 can't keep up, well, that's not good for the Pac-12. So it's just it's going to be interesting to see how the balance is. Now, obviously, USC and Cal are not on the same competitive plane, and what Justin Wilcox, when we've discussed this in previous episodes of The Voice of College Football, Justin Wilcox has traded job security for chasing championships. Like, he valued job security. Like, he knows that the job in Berkeley isn't great. He knows that, you have COVID, you have the higher academic standards. So he has limited his horizons. But in exchange, he knows that the Berkeley administration, as a favor for, accepting all of these limitations, is not going to have a quick trigger firing him. So Wilcox, he took that deal. He saw the cards that were laid out on the table. He was willing to accept various limitations in exchange for being able to coach for several more years, knowing he's not going to get the axe. That was the deal that he made. But in terms of pursuing championships, that's where USC is. And Cal is just the latest Pac-12 team to suffer while USC continues to thrive and build its roster even more.
Just to get everyone set on the metrics and the stats involving Talalay out of Santa Clara, California, 6'5", 330, 516th rated player overall, according to the 247 Sports Composite, 60th rated defensive lineman, and the 39th rated player in the state of California. Now, also, we mentioned Grant Buckey coming in, another California product. He is the 63rd rated defensive lineman, so right there with Talalele, 6'5", 265 out of Bakersfield, California, Liberty High School, 41st rated player in the state, and just a couple national spots down the rungs at 523. He received 18 offers, 9 coming in for Talalele. So again, Bucky and Talalele, the big news over the last few days for USC 2023 and beyond.